Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of JaianMusic Notes, where we deep dive into the creative processes behind my anime music covers. I'm your host, JaianMusic, and today I have a very special episode where we're going to be taking a closer look at this super hauntingly beautiful and intensely emotional cover of Lilium from Elfen Lead. This song holds a special place in anime history and in my heart, and I'm excited to walk you through my own rendition of the piece as part of Anime Anthems Volume 2. There will be a link to the entire album in the description. Please give it a listen. Before we get into all of the Lilium goodness, I want to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Leza Audio Technologies. If you're looking to push your music production to the next level, Leza's innovative plugins are designed to fill your auditory niches, giving you unique tools to build your sound. You've got Fram and Glow, very cool, fully featured engines and musical plugins for creating really cool, complex atmospheres. So go use code JaianMusic at checkout and you'll get 25% off. And by supporting Leza with that code, you're supporting the podcast. Every generated dollar from that code goes back into the show and GoPro Kyo, who does all of the artwork for the podcast. His links are also in the description. All right. Lilium is one of those tracks that's immediately recognizable to any anime music fan out there, especially those who've experienced the dark and tragic world of Elfen Lied. The song itself is deeply tied into the themes of innocence, loss, and has this melancholic atmosphere that really is the energy of the anime. Because you have to remember, whenever you hit play on Elfen Lied, this is the first thing you hear. It's originally composed by Kayao Konishi and Yukio Kondo, and it was written in this, in my opinion, it was very inspired by Gregorian chants and like sacred type of music. It gives it this like spiritual resonance that I really like. But in my cover, I wanted to capture the emotional weight, but give it my own spin, leading into a more orchestral and ambient texture that defined the musical direction of Anime Anthems Volume 2, which, on a brief note, Anime Anthems Volume 2 was the first full length of the Anime Anthems series. And in this one, I really went through and did this like fully small ensemble orchestra in the first half, and then piano solo versions of these same songs in the second half. And Lilium has those two versions. There's this fully orchestral version that we're going to talk about. When I say fully, it's really not like a full orchestra or anything, but it's more than just a solo piano. And then there's also a piano solo version. So let's dive into the actual breakdown of my cover. Starting with the overall concept, I approached Lilium with the goal of combining, like I said, orchestral and subtle ambience to still have that powerful emotional core, but I always want to evolve the sound, and this track was no exception for that. It was an experiment of that blend, and the instrumentation was sparse, but really layered, in my opinion. The main melodic line is carried by a soft ambient piano, which really sets the tone of the entire track. And I wanted the piano to have this almost floating quality, so I dripped it in some nice reverb and allowed each note to hang in the air, creating this ethereal sound. But what really adds depth is the music box that I use to play in unison with the piano at one octave higher. Just one little octave higher to give it a sense of innocence, which contrasts with the dark atmospheres of the original piece. The music box adds this like childlike fragility, and having it harmonize in unison with the piano is able to create like a unique and layered soundscape. It's got to be 2 layers is a blend. Very simple. One of the biggest shifts for this cover is the length of it. So I decided to go halftime, which means that the original is double the speed of this. It's half of the time. This wasn't just a stylistic choice. It was meant to let the emotions of each note linger. By slowing it down, the track feels more meditative and allows the listener to really sink into the atmosphere of Elfen Lied. Plus, the halftime production gave me a lot more space to play with time-based effects. Like I said, dripping the piano and reverb, this track uses that. It uses space-based reverbs that allow all of those elements to blend together seamlessly. With Lilium being such a delicate piece, I knew I had to strike a balance between clarity and ambience, and using different reverbs to interact with each other. When you're hearing the tail of one note, you're already hearing the blend of the reverb with the music box. It creates a continuous dreamlike quality that I really think does justice to the emotional depth of the song. To me, Lilium really sits in this anime music anthem. That's why I wanted it to be a part of anime anthems. That was the whole concept of anime anthems. Like, take the best openings in anime, make your own versions of them, and gather them together in an album. And when constructing Anime Anthems Volume 2, I wanted that element to be there. I need that sad piece. I need something that's emotional, and I need it to be simple. A music box and a piano blends very well together for that. It allows everything to just sit together, and these small ensembles are a nice way to just begin this like ambient and orchestral musical direction that I like taking. So in conclusion, that's my breakdown of Lilium from Elfen Lied. It was one of those covers where the instrumentation, the space, and the emotion all came together in a way where it aligned with this orchestral ambient direction I'm pushing for with JaianMusic. The halftime production, the delicate music box, the harmonies between that and the piano, and the reverbs that create this like spacious atmosphere is what I was aiming for. So I hope this deep dive gave you some more insight into my process, and that's why I approach the track that way. Right now I'm doing a little bit of a thing where I'm going solo episodes, guest episode. Like, we had a huge guest run, and obviously a big thank you to everyone that came through. But expect some more solo episodes in there, here and there. They're nice, they're fun, they're relaxing. They allow me to just kind of peel back the layers of my works, which was the whole point of this podcast originally. So I hope that this deep dive gave you some insight into my process and how I approach the track. Like I said in the beginning, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to support future ones, you can do so by using code JaianMusic over at Laser Audio Technologies. You can do that by subscribing to the podcast in your favorite podcatcher, giving us a 5-star review, everything. I'm already seeing this podcast chart and music commentary and anime and manga across Apple Podcasts. So I'm very, very grateful for that. Know that if you're listening to this, it means a lot to me. So, subscribe to JaianMusic, follow me on social media at JaianMusic. You can visit the podcast website, JaianMusic.com. More stuff on the podcast over there. So once again, for myself, this has been another episode of JaianMusic Notes. Bye, everyone.